Hey everybody, welcome back. I thought I'd do a quick update here, show you some progress of what I've been working on. Let's see, first of all I guess we'll do the Capri, Pro Stock Capri. Roll cage is finished and painted. Floor pan is painted. And valve covers. Engine is still not finished, but it's getting there. Rear end is assembled and painted. And the body work is pretty much finished on the on the main body. I just got to reprime the roof here and a couple other little spots, but I don't think it needs any more putty except for the hood, which I had to do a little work. This was not a full bulge. Yeah. I had to add a piece of styrene in the back here to level this out, and then it will get, I'm pretty sure that the scoop, I gotta look back at the pictures of the real car, but I'm pretty sure that's the scoop style that it's gonna get. And the 57 Chevy Pro Mod, well, that chassis is finished and up on the shelf, which you've seen the finished chassis, I'm pretty sure. The body shell, I just now put some primer on, some white primer. I had it in gray primer before, and the front end I had to cut the scoop off and put a different scoop on. I kept messing around, and there was always like pinholes in the sides of this scoop, which was one that I had cast out of resin. And the further I dug into it, I started popping the pinholes, and they were like real craters in there. So what I did is I took a drill and I just drilled into each one thinking I could fill it, but there was just too many of them, and I had so many more of these scoops, so I dug up another one that I had cast that was a little bit better, cut the old one off, put this one on, finished all the putty work on it. I mean, if I was really being picky, there's probably a little bit more putty work that could be done, but I'm going to stop there because I find that a lot of times I keep putting putty on and sanding it off, and I don't really get anywhere. I just keep applying it and sanding it, and it doesn't fill the divots, it just sands it back out. So I'm just going to let it go there. It's not bad. And you may have seen in the background in couple other a video or two ago, that there was a like a funny car chassis sitting there. So this is the next project. This is an old funny car chassis that I bought at a show, I don't know, probably 5 or 10 years ago for really cheap. It was just parts in a box. So what I did is I cut, well, the back body hinge back here was broke off, so I made a 4-link suspension for it. I used the rear end from one of the Oldsmobile Pro Stocks. This was a casting that I made, and I put pins in. I don't know if the camera can pick them up. Yeah, there's 2 little pins there. And I put tubes up on the top of the roll cage here. So those pins, if I can get it in here with it without shaking my brains out. Okay, so those pins fit in there and hang the rear end. I don't know why the camera's not focusing so good. But anyway, that hangs like that. And then I made 4-link bars. I gotta try to do a little bit more shaping on the ends, but I just used some styrene rod and some flat styrene sheet, drilled holes and glued them on, and tried to shape them into a semi-round, so they get attached to, pull the rear out of here, these plates come off of there. At least they're supposed to. Yeah, like that. That slides off. Then that 4-link bars are going to go on those pins, and then this plate goes back on, which locks them in and makes like a, plate. The link is in between the brackets. I keep getting out of the frame of the camera here. So anyway, that's pretty much engineered out and finished up. I put plates inside the frame here to mount the 4-link bars. I put a bar for the steering box. This was the Funny Car steering box. And what I did, if I can find it, yeah, I put the little post up there and I drilled a hole in the bottom of the steering box. Probably can't see it, but anyway, that actually fits into the steering box. So that'll be glued in there, and then the other steering shaft goes through that hole and into there. Then it'll have a thing up the side, a rod up the side. And I got real brave here. I made a front axle, and I'm starting to make spindles. Let me pull this apart here and show it. So I made the front axle here with these hollow tubes on the end. And I put my brackets on the top and a bracket on the bottom. And then what I did is I tried to make a spindle. Try not to lose it and still show it though. I just took flat styrene and some of that same round tubing that I used for the end of the axle, and I glued 2 pieces to that, and then I made a kingpin. I put a little topper on it so it don't fall through. So that will, I don't know if I can get it back in here again on camera, but let's try. That fits, goes over the end of the axle, and then the kingpin goes down through, at least theoretically. Okay, so it will, if I don't glue it together, it'll actually steer. I didn't put, you can see it moving. I did not put the spindle or the pin, the straight piece into the spindle yet that's going to mount the wheel, and I don't know how I'm going to manage that and keep all 4 wheels on the ground, but I'll try. I'll come up with something. And the wheels it's going to get are these spindle mount torque thrusts on the front. These are ones that I cast. Cleaned them up a little bit. Once I get some chrome paint on them or polished aluminum, they should look pretty good. And the rear wheels are going to be these. They're ET, forget what the name, like Bear Claw or something like that. It's hard to show the detail on them being in the resin until there's color, or shiny stuff on there like the polished aluminum or chrome paint. But I'm sure most of you are familiar with these wheels. So those are what's going to go on the back of the Fiat, and then it's going to get a Pro Stock type engine with tunnel ram and 2 4s and a Power Glide. That's a resin cast Power Glide. So this is going to be like a semi-modern day competition eliminator car for A. Allard. Oh, I guess I didn't tell you. I've been holding off on the body. I took one of my resin rejects here, and I'm doing some cleanup work on it. I had to add a little bit to the back here, and I had to add a little bit to the front where the casting had nothing. So I just took some flat styrene and cut a piece out to fit. Glued it on, and once I get some filler in there, it should be fine. And I've been working at the you know, the window openings and stuff and the edges. Put a little bit of putty in here where I had on the master where I closed up the wheel openings a little bit from the resin body. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, if you could go back and look at my resin casting and it'll pretty much explain it. So I still got putty to sand off there yet. And this is also going to get probably the same scoop as the Capri, which will be like that. And the body's going to fit down. The nose of it actually will be right behind the front axle. Kind of like that. And I had it mocked up when I had the rear under it and put, you know, tires on it, and everything seems to be so far to be in about the position where it should be, where I'm happy with it. But it tries my patience with trying to make all this little stuff. I've never made spindles before like that. And if I get a toothpick here, you can see that they do actually, I know I said it before, but they actually pivot. So I'll need to make steering arms, tie rod ends, and a whole lot of stuff to have it actually look real. But anyway, that's where I'm at right now. Hope you like what you see, or if you got any suggestions or questions, comments, whatever, just leave them down below and I'll try to answer questions or listen to suggestions. And then I want to thank everybody for subscribing. I never really expected to get more than a handful of subscribers, and I'm surprised I got like over 400, I think, and it just amazes me because my stuff is not that great. You know, there's much better builders, much better video makers. I'm just glad people are seem to be interested in what I'm doing. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.